good, yeah.
Okay. When I was young, and of course we had five boys and two girls, but the boys were always going at each other. And my father was going to replace the fuse because the dryer wasn't working. So he was outside the bedroom, which was on one side of the house, and I was inside the bedroom, and he was fixing the fuse on the outside. And when he got it fixed, he told me to go check the dryer to make sure it was working. So my father said to do something that meant do it yesterday. So I'm running down the hall completely to the other side of the house, and my brother Wayne is inside the closet at the end of the hall. And as I get to the end of the hall, he opens the door, flat, flat against the door. I get nailed. Wayne was always doing stuff to me. Once I was in the closet in the same bedroom, and I had my hand on the frame of the door, and he locked the door with my hand in the frame. So it was my right hand, and I couldn't reach the lock on the other side of the door. And unfortunately, every lock in the house had a different key, and my mother had to go find a box of keys. I mean, there must have, I don't know how many keys were there, but tons of keys. She had to go find a box of keys and start trying to put keys in the lock to finally get me out of the uh, out of the closet. I don't know how long it took, but it took a long time with my hand locked in the door. My father was an avid hunter and fisherman, and he had a 12 gauge Browning automatic shotgun. And when we got to be 14 years old, he gave us a 20 gauge double barrel shotgun. That was, he gave me one when I got to be 14. He gave Steve one when he got to be 14. Well, when Wayne got to be 14, Daddy had a heart attack and had some financial issues, and he said, I'm going to give you the 12 gauge shotgun, and we're going to take your 20 gauge shotgun and give it to Wayne. So now you'll all have shotguns. Um, but that 12 gauge shotgun is something he bought. I don't know, he must have been maybe 18 years old. But a Browning is a really classic, well made, outstanding shotgun. And I asked him about that once. Why he had got, when he was that young and he had bought, a Browning automatic shotgun. I mean, that's a very expensive gun. And he told me, he says, well, if you buy something that's really first class, it lasts a long time, and it's really, that's the thing you ought to do. And he said, just like marry your mother. He said, that's what I did. I married first class, and that's what I should have done. But um, I remember once that we went hunting together, and at that time, I borrowed my Uncle Dick's 12 gauge, and he had the Browning, and we didn't have two boxes of shells between it, so we maybe had I don't know, 23 shells each, something like that. I came back and I had about 7 or 8 ducks. My daddy came back and he had like 23 ducks and was upset that he didn't have more. I mean, he was absolutely awesome in terms of being a hunter and a fisherman. I mean, it was amazing. You know, he would aim so he would get 2 on the first shot, and then he would have the other 2 shots to be able to get the next 1 or 2.
Pick up the spares.
Yeah, pick up the spares. I mean, he was something else. Once when we went down to go hunting down at the mouth of the river, um, we ran a trout line across a bayou there, and we were catching catfish like they were going out of style. I mean, they were like about 10 pounds each, and I mean they were just going. We'd pull them all off the trout line, rebait it, and they would fill the trout line up again. I don't we must have had 20 or 30 hooks on it, and basically my Uncle Dick and I spent all day filleting catfish, which means just what you do is you cut it right by the gills and go back right along the bone, and you flip it over, and then you cut right along the skin, and then you got all meat. You turn it over and do the same thing. Well, we brought back 2 large, very large ice chests full of catfish fillets, nothing but catfish, man. It just absolutely amazing. In fact, I got a picture of my father and my uncle, my brother Steve, and I. We were catching redfish. They were running around 10 or 12 pound each, and I don't know. We must have got 30 or 40 of them. I don't remember the number, but I kept that picture in my drawer at work. And when people come in to me and brag about fishing, I would take out that picture and they'd shut up and go away.
A fish story you actually have proof for.
Oh yeah, when you bring in. When I first came to Dahlgren, the first year I was there, everybody was. The Redskins weren't that good, but the Saints were even worse because they were only about 3 years old then when and they were going to play a game, the coming week, and everybody was just beating up on me about the Saints, and how bad they were, and how the Redskins were going to beat the tar out of them and all this stuff, and I just had to take it, for that whole week. Well, come Sunday, the Saints beat the Redskins. And the next week, I couldn't even find anybody to talk to. They saw me coming in, and they walked away.
I guess you had to go native just to find people to talk to.
Yeah, Luckily, when the Saints first got started in 1960, I guess it was 65, I guess, was the first year they played. Yes, no, maybe it was 66, 67. Yeah, 66, I think it was. And they played in Tulane Stadium, which was very close to Loyola, where I went to school, and I worked in the priest residence, and I used to work Sunday morning in the priest residence from 8 to 12 or something like that. And people would call Loyola and ask, you know, if any of the priests wanted tickets, you know, that somebody could go pick up the tickets and they would have tickets to go see the game. I mean, that section of the city was kind of the wealthy section of the city, and people would call the priest residence and ask them if they wanted tickets. Well, Loyola owned WWL television, and any priest who wanted tickets already had tickets. I mean, they really didn't need tickets. So I used to be able to go pick up tickets and go to all the football games
Ah.
just because I worked at the priest residence. I remember going to the very first game that they ever played in Tulane Stadium, and they played against Los Angeles. It was the Los Angeles Rams at that time. Not like today. They've moved. But anyway, New Orleans took the opening kickoff and ran it back for a touchdown. And then they went downhill from then on out.